You know, when Christmas first started in FGO, Artoria Alter showed up as Santa, and the funny part about this is that she didn't even have a proper sleigh. You know, Santa is supposed to ride a sleigh pulled by reindeer, right? Well, the reason she doesn't have reindeer anymore is honestly stupid in the best way. Turns out, she did have reindeer at first, but at some point, Artoria decided to use Excalibur Morgan as a jet engine to launch her sleigh into the air. Naturally, firing a massive cursed sword beam from a sleigh scared the living hell out of the reindeer, and they all ran away. And yeah, that's exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. I mean, look at how huge Excalibur Morgan is. That thing fires an absurdly massive energy blast. It's basically a sword-shaped laser cannon. And she used that to try to fly using a freaking reindeer sleigh. Good lord. You see, every now and then, I'm reminded of moments like this, where these legendary god-tier beings from myth and history casually use their absurd powers for the most mundane situations imaginable. It's hilarious. Moments like these just make your brain giggle because of how human and ordinary they are. And today, we're looking at more moments like that. Because believe it or not, when they're not fighting world-ending threats, these people are just, people. So I'm here to remind you of some of those moments. Or if you didn't know about them, well, I'm here to tell you now. Nightingale. She's a warrior woman whose entire identity revolves around medicine and healthcare. As a heroic spirit, like most of them, she has the right to make a wish on the Holy Grail. So when she's asked what she would do with it, her answer is surprising. She says she needs a bowl to wash her hands, so she would use the Holy Grail for that. Because, hygiene is important. Yeah, she looks at a reality-warping, wish-granting artifact shaped like a chalice, and the first thing that comes to mind is, yes, a hand-washing container. That's unhinged. But I mean, she kind of is, so, But honestly, she does have a real wish. This is explained in her conversation with Mash in the America chapter. She talks about her dream of a world with no hospitals, where everyone has free access to good health. She admits that it's an incredibly difficult goal, and that she never expected that even hundreds of years after her death, humanity still wouldn't have achieved something like that. But instead of using a wish-granting machine to instantly reach that outcome, she'd rather work toward it herself, and that's kind of fascinating. This level of determination belongs to a berserker of all classes. Her stubbornness, her obsession, that is her madness. Is it rational though? I honestly don't know, but the idea of using the Holy Grail as a hand-washing bowl is still freaking hilarious. Another character who has insane utility and uses it for mundane things is the grumpy old man with a young face, Muramasa. If you know him, you know he's a legendary blacksmith who somehow ended up being summoned as a saber, which even he finds confusing because he's an expert at making swords, not wielding them. Muramasa is absurdly good at blacksmithing, like god-tier good. He's described as a swordsmith whose skills rival the gods themselves. He's said to be the founder of a school that produced the sharpest katana of the Sengoku era. Emiya himself considers Muramasa one of the greatest artisans of all time. And this is coming from a guy whose whole thing is making copies. In Shimosa, he even creates an evil blade that reaches the demonic realm, which Musashi ends up using. In real history, Muramasa blades were infamous for being cursed, so much so that people believed every Tokugawa family member killed by a sword was killed by a Muramasa blade. Even today, real Muramasa swords can cost tens of thousands of dollars, with rare, high-quality ones exceeding $1 million. So yeah, his swords are lethal, every single one of them. And because his skill at making deadly weapons is that insane, he also happens to be incredibly good at making farming tools and household equipment. Yep, you can probably see where this is going. During the Shimosa chapter, when he's living with Onui and Tasuke, he supports all of them by crafting and selling tools to the locals. He literally uses god-tier blacksmithing talent to make everyday items and sell them at the market, swords included. He even admits that he wants the 2 kids he took in to have a future without hunger and to grow up peacefully. Now, I don't know if he ever made money equal to what his skills are actually worth, but he clearly made enough to support several people living together in his hermitage. And honestly, they live a simple, traditional life, so it probably wasn't much trouble. Though, that didn't stop these two brain cell-sharing teenagers from staying at a red light district for several days and making Muramasa pay the entire bill. That said, by the end of the story, he leaves enough of a fortune for the two orphans. Kotaro even offers Onui a chance to stay in town and seek help from Otama or Kiyo, but she chooses to remain at the hermitage. That choice shows how much braver the kids have become, and that Muramasa left them with more than enough to live on. Funny enough, this also applies to the man whose body Muramasa is using, Emiya. Emiya does the same kind of thing. His signature abilities, unlimited blade works, structural analysis, and projection, are usually used to analyze weapons and copy them for combat. We see this all the time in the anime. He copies tons of weapons, even noble phantasms, though they're usually weaker than the originals. But he's also skilled enough to project mundane things for everyday use. And honestly, this feels like Shiro's personality leaking through. You know, the need to optimize, fix, and take care of everything. In the summer race event, Emiya runs a food stall and prepares all kinds of dishes to sell. Then some kids show up wanting cotton candy, something he didn't prepare for at all. Instead of turning them away or offering something else, he just casually projects a cotton candy machine on the spot and starts making cotton candy for them. In the lake summer camp event, he straight up projects an entire fishing set to go fishing, and that fishing gear is strong enough to pull a literal monster-sized creature out of the lake. Later, when everyone gets trapped in a supermarket, he projects pizza ovens so they can still eat pizza. In the same event, he casually projects a magic mirror like it's the most normal thing in the world. Yume Ren even gets confused and says there's basically nothing he can't do. At this point, yeah, he really is a jack of all trades. He's a chef, a mage, an archer, a swordsman, a handyman, and honestly, kind of a mom too. Speaking of this kind of mundane stuff, we can't really ignore one certain guy whose power is literally a vault, a place to store things. And yes, I'm talking about Gilgamesh. More specifically, Kid Gil. I don't really know how Kid Gil is handled in other series, but in FGO there are some really stupid, in a funny way, uses of his power. One example is from his interlude. Gil is just casually talking about what to do at the beach, and then, without any warning or build-up, he suddenly pulls out a swimsuit for Mash from his Gate of Babylon. There isn't even an image for it in-game, but it still caught me completely off guard. Even Dr. Roman comments on how ridiculous it was. He did it so casually, but I feel like I just witnessed a noble phantasm being utilized in an extremely wasteful way. And this joke doesn't stop there. It also shows up in the short spin-off anime, Fujimaru Doesn't Get It. In one episode, Archer Gilgamesh gets angry because his vault is completely full of ascension and leveling materials. He eventually finds out that it was actually Fuji who kept storing all that stuff, through the adult wiser Gilgamesh. After that, Gil even pulls snacks out of his vault and scolds Fuji for putting them there, only for Fuji to say it wasn't him. Then we find out the truth. Kid Gil himself has been stuffing his vault with random things, including snacks he gets from the staff. So yeah, his legendary treasury is basically a junk drawer. Anastasia is kind of the same. But well, she's Anastasia, so that level of chaos isn't really surprising. She's unpredictable by nature. She actually has an entire skill dedicated to using her connection to a powerful spiritual being to pull pranks. One of the skills she gets from V is called Schwipsig, which is funny because that's her childhood nickname and literally means little devil. This skill lets her use small, prank-level marble phantasms, stuff like pulling other people's belongings into her hand or creating tiny cracks in the ground so someone might trip. So essentially, she has a whole skill just to annoy people. Is it dangerous? I mean, that's subjective. But on its own, it's mostly harmless and clearly meant for messing with others. This shows up perfectly in her Valentine event. If you have her, she gives Fuji a V plushie. She casually admits that the doll might cause some supernatural phenomena once or twice, but says it'll be fine. Her real goal, though, is protection. The doll moves around at night and attacks any intruders. And sure enough, at night in Fuji's room, the V plushie actually starts moving. But it doesn't just patrol. It ends up fighting another doll, specifically Ku Alter's plushie. So every night, these two toys beat the crap out of each other. And by morning, Fuji's room is completely wrecked. Not exactly what Anastasia planned, but she's clearly amused by it anyway. In the end, her prank and her goal both work at the same time. Also, still with Anastasia, it's not just her personal skills. She straight up uses her signature Ice Mage craft for really mundane problems whenever she feels like it. For example, during the Holy Samba Night event, there's this giant ice golem that shows up as a challenger in that event. And right before the fight starts, it's revealed that Anastasia has been inside it the whole time. The reason she's wrapped in ice? Literally just to keep herself cool in hot weather. And honestly, yeah, that checks out. We all remember that iconic goddamn hot scream she lets out in one of the summer events, and she basically says it again here, just to confirm how uncomfortable she is in hot areas. So yeah, this feels completely justified. On top of that, she'll casually freeze the ground under her feet to reduce friction, letting her skate around and move faster whenever she wants. It's not shown directly how often she does this, but we can easily imply it, because in that same tournament, she's literally sliding around at high speed while carrying Ivan like a backpack and ramming his tusks into her enemies. That alone pretty much confirms she's already used to skating around with Ice Mage craft. You know what? She deserves it. Use your magecraft however you want, princess. So, there it is. Those are some of the most mundane things done with absolutely inhumane levels of power by literal legends of the world. Share this video somewhere, and if you know more examples, drop them in the comments. I'll see you guys next time.